This is Heart.
We have good cover across the county. In fact, for many of our on-call firefighters who would normally do a primary job and come in for us on when we call them in, we've actually got more cover than normal because, of course, lots of people have been furloughed. So unfortunate for those people that have had that impact, but for ourselves, our operational cover is as good as it's ever been. And although we've got an impact from COVID, it isn't really starting to impact fire cover at this stage.
Right, got you. So we just mentioned before we started chatting there, SCG, Strategic Coordinating Group. Have I got that correct?
Yes, indeed.
So what is your part in that, and what is that all about, that group?
Okay, so before we have an emergency in the county, we have an organisation called a Local Resilience Forum, which does a load of thinking about what emergencies might happen in Hertfordshire. And there's one of those in every county. What we try and do is work out where there might be a big event that could cause us a problem. And that could be anything from an earthquake to a plane crash, could be a terrorist activity, or it could be a pandemic.
Right.
And so we've done lots of thinking beforehand. So we have plans ready for such an eventuality. When we get to a point where one of these eventualities materialises, we stand up this group called a Strategic Coordinating Group. So it brings together all the agencies in Hertfordshire that might need to respond in such an event. And so we've stood that group up. We stood it up a month ago, actually. So we've been in place for a long while.
Yeah.
We've taken those plans off the shelf and we're now enacting them.
How is your job at the moment different to how it was before all this started? What different tasks are you doing at the minute?
So normally, I'd be Chief Fire Officer, and so I would be responding to emergencies, but I'll be planning and managing the fire and rescue response for the county. I also do trading standards and various other things as well. But as of today, I'm largely focusing on that coordination of our emergency response across the whole piece. So I have a deputy, my deputy, Chris Bigland, who is largely running the fire and rescue service for me now. I'm overseeing this strategic coordinating group as the chair, and basically we're trying to coordinate the response across all the agencies, which ranges from the other emergency services, so police and ambulance, as well as fire, the NHS and all the various agencies that form part of that, social care, and so care homes and things. We're also pulling together our utilities companies who are part of that group, the Environment Agency, local authorities, a wide range of organisations. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that where we can mutually support each other, or where those plans require support from each other, then that's in place and is working well.
Well, look, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today with the incredible, difficult and important job that you're doing. I appreciate it. Bit disappointed the bell hasn't rung once, though.
We're trying to do all we can to keep the call numbers down. And I think, I guess if I add one thing in, if I could, that is social distancing is so important. And people observing that would really help us in terms of response, because everything they do to delay the peak helps the NHS to smooth out that peak. And, I think it's really important to recognise the NHS are knocking this out of the ballpark. They are doing an outstanding job. And all of the work that people do to make sure that social distancing is maintained is helping that. So if I could ask your listeners to remember that, it's important, particularly with the bank holiday weekend coming up.
Darryl, it's been lovely to chat to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you, John. Cheers.
This is Heart.